And so we know that 4th of July is the independence of the United States. It happened 238 years ago in 1776. But I want to give you just a brief history lesson on it, and I want to talk about the sacrifices that were required for that to take place for a few minutes. The Declaration of Independence was actually signed and agreed upon, actually not on the 4th, but on the 2nd of July in 1776, when Congress voted to have a separation from Great Britain and King George. And by doing so, they were declaring their desire to worship the one true God with freedom without interference from a human government. And so, in essence, the founders of this country desired a better country. It was an earthly country. These men were men after the heart of God, and they decided they wanted it to be built on the principles of Scripture, and they couldn't do that where they were in Great Britain without interference. And so they were longing for and looking forward to a better country. And so they came to the United States to form that better country. 2 days afterwards, on July 4th, they had the early draft of the Declaration. Independence was completed, and it was signed just by two of the signers, John Hancock, who was the president of Congress at that time, and Charles Thomas, who was the secretary of Congress. And it wasn't until 4 days later, on July 8th, that members of Congress took that document in Pennsylvania to the steps of Independence Hall, and they proclaimed that freedom and that document that Congress had agreed upon, and they finalized it by ringing of the Liberty Bell, which has an inscription on it from Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10, which says, "Proclaim liberty throughout the land to all the inhabitants thereof." And by virtue of that, a nation was born. And the Declaration of Independence, by the way, which is a document that most Americans have never read, is online, and it takes about maybe 10 minutes to read it. It's super, super short. I would highly encourage you that you get online and look up Declaration of Independence and read that phenomenal document that was the source of the generation of this nation's birth. It's kind of interesting because the people that signed this are often maligned, and we're told that there was really not much of a heart for God, and they really didn't believe in the one true God, and they really didn't believe in the Scriptures. And I want to tell you that that's not historically accurate. The men that signed this document, 24 were lawyers and jurists, 11 were merchants, 9 of them were farmers and plantation owners, and the rest were a collection of physicians, politicians, educators, and ministers. But the majority of them were passionate followers of Jesus Christ, and they